Ruth, chapter 1. And it came to pass in the days when the judges judged, and there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the field of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And the name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife was Naomi, and the name of his 2 sons Machlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem in Judah. And they came into the field of Moab, and continued there. And Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left, and her 2 sons. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth. And they dwelt there about 10 years. And Machlon and Chilion died, both of them, and the woman was left of her 2 children, and of her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the field of Moab, for she had heard in the field of Moab how that the Lord had remembered his people in giving them bread. And she went forth out of the place where she was, and her daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return into the land of Judah. And Naomi said unto her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, return each of you to her mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt kindly with the dead and with me. The Lord grant you that you may find rest, each of you, in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. And they said unto her, Nay, but we will return with you unto your people. And Naomi said, Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Turn back, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say, I have hope, should I even have an husband tonight, and also bear sons, would you tarry for them till they were grown? Would you shut yourselves off for them, and have no husbands? Nay, my daughters, for it grieveth me much for your sakes, for the hand of the Lord is gone forth against me. And they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth cleaved unto her. And she said, Behold, your sister-in-law is gone back unto her people, and unto her God. Return you after your sister-in-law. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave you, and to return from following after you. For whither you go, I will go, and whither you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if I ought but death part you and me. And when she saw that she was steadfast minded to go with her, she left off speaking unto her. So they 2 went until they came to Bethlehem. And it came to pass, when they were come to Bethlehem, that all the city was astir concerning them. And the woman said, Is this Naomi? And she said unto them, Call me not Naomi, call me Marah, for the Almighty hath dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me back home empty. Why call you me Naomi? Seeing the Lord hath testified against me, and the Almighty hath afflicted me. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned out of the field of Moab. They came to Bethlehem in the beginning of the barley harvest. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. We're going to start this book of Ruth today. This book of Ruth, there's several ways we can look at the book of Ruth. A lot of people look at the book of Ruth as this, and it is a pleasant story. It is a very pleasant story. Ruth means this. It's a female companion, and this female companion, or this a friend. This it's in a female sense. It's just a feminine sense of this word, like a companion who is female. And we can even, it's like your even we can use this word to mean like the neighbor's field, even that you have an agreement to use, similar in situation. But we're talking about a female companion here, and Ruth will be that female companion. We find that Ruth is set in the time of the Judges, and this goes back. We can read the book of Judges and what was going on then. See, Israel, there was a great lack of understanding in the earth at that time. All the children of Israel kept going astray from God. They kept going astray. God would punish them, and then they would return to God. See, and there for a while everything would be great, and then they would go out away from God, and God would punish them, and then they would return. And this is what was going on in the period of Judges. It's documented in the book of Judges, and it's important to know this because that's what was going on in the land during this period of time. And sometimes we're going to find out this book's going to fall under a law, because it's always about the law of what's known as the kinsman redeemer law, or this law that we can find it written in Deuteronomy, the law of how someone can go ahead to bring forth seed in their brother's house in case he's died before he had a chance to have children. And that's basically what some people relate this book to. The books, we're going to take a minute here, and this here is that we read from is the Hebrew Bible. This is what is some people would call the Masoretic text, and this Hebrew Bible, the whole Bible. See, it's kind of like there's two books here. There's the whole Bible. It's got 66 books, and then there's this Hebrew Bible that we read from. This is called the Tanakh, and there's 24 books of it, and it's known as this Masoretic text. But this portion that we're reading from is known as the writings, the Ketuvim, and because it's broken up into three portions, and we have the Torah, that is the teachings or the law, and that would be the first 5 books of the Bible, this Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh. And then we got the Nevi'im, and that's the prophets. These are the prophets, and those would be the next set of books. And then we have the Ketuvim, or the writings, and the book of Ruth comes from the Ketuvim. We have been reading in the Nevi'im, or the prophets, for many days. The prophets start with Joshua and Judges and Samuel and Kings, Isaiah. All those from there on is the prophets, but we're going to be picking the book of Ruth up in this period of the Judges, and we'll find out in that period of Judges, especially in the end, we would find there was a whole lot of writings coming out of Bethlehem. We have the writings of these things that were going on within Benjamin, the tribe of Benjamin. And we're going to pick it up here in verse 1. And it came to pass in the days when the judges judged, that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn in the field of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And this would be in the days of the judges, and these period of time lasted for quite a few years, where Israel was punished and then blessed, and punished and blessed, God showing that he controls all things. And there was a famine in the land, and this famine, it insinuates, to me at least, that there had been a drought even in the land, or a drought which causes the famine. See, there's no rain, no crops, no food, and this is what a famine is. And this famine insinuates to me that there was possibly a little punishment of God, and it may have been during the time that the children of Israel were going astray against God, and God was punishing even in the rains. And it was a certain man now of Bethlehem, this Bet is the house, and lechem is the bread, and this is the house of bread, and it's in Judah. Judah means praisings, and they went to sojourn in the fields of Moab. And Moab is the son of Lot and his daughter, and that's what Moab means. It means from his father, and we won't get in a whole lot into that. He was born from Lot and his daughter, he and his wife and his 2 sons. And they went, this field of Moab insinuates to the areas around Moab. It's a general area. And this man was a certain man, and we're going to give his name too. And the name of the man was Elimelech. And the name of his wife, Naomi. And the name of his 2 sons, Machlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem in Judah, and they came into the field of Moab and continued there. And the name of this man, his name was Elimelech. And Elimelech is the mighty one, is king. See, Ele, this mighty, the El, mighty one, and my mighty one is Melech, and Melech is the king. Melech means king. And the name of his wife was Naomi. And Naomi is my pleasantness, or my delight, my favor. In this understanding. And the name of his 2 sons, one was Machlon, and Machlon means is the weak or sickly, and Chilion is this that is consumed completely, that which is completely consumed even in it. Ephrathites. They were Ephrathites, and that means they was from the area of Ephratah. And Ephratah is they are of the area, the land of Ephraim. And Ephraim are the double-fruited. These would be one of the children of Joseph, the descendants of one of the children of Joseph. And they lived in Bethlehem, this house of the bread, in Bethlehem in Judah. And Judah, though, is... because Bethlehem, there are 2 Bethlehems. See, there was the Bethlehem of Ephratah, and there was the Bethlehem of Judah, since the border went right through the middle, and they came to the fields of Moab. And this field of Moab, even those areas all around Moab, and Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left, and her 2 sons. So Elimelech, dies, and Naomi is left, her and her 2 sons, and they took them wives of women of Moab. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other is Ruth, and they dwelt there about 10 years. And they took them wives. So these 2 sons that were left, what happened was Elimelech dies, and now Naomi is a widow, and her husband's been taken away. That's what makes her a widow. And in a sense, she is left without a husband to raise these 2 sons. And these 2 sons grow up, and they take of them wives from among the women of Moab. And Moab, we know, was Lot and Abraham. Abraham's son was Lot, and that makes Lot Abraham's nephew, and Moab was born from Lot and his daughter. And the name of this one was Orpah. And this is, Orpah is, I think they interpret this kind of like a gazelle, but that's really what we're insinuating, more like the back of the gazelle's neck. See, even that weakness, it's a sense of a weakness to expose the back of the neck, and that's really what it means, where the back of the neck is exposed. And the name of the other was Ruth. And Ruth, once again, is this female companion. She is the one that the book is written for, and they dwelt there about 10 years. And anytime we see 10, we can about reference the law here, even in a greater understanding, because the law is what really is being involved here, this law, this kinsman redeemer, and as well as several other laws. 5, and Machlon and Chilion died, both of them, and the woman was left of her 2 sons and of her husband. And Machlon and Chilion, now we remember they were the 2 sons, the weak and the consumed completely. They was the 2 sons of Naomi and Elimelech. They have died as well. Now she is left by herself. She is left alone, even of her sons. 6. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the field of Moab. For she had heard in the field of Moab how the Lord had remembered his people in giving them bread. Then she rose up. She decided she was going to leave her and her daughters in the law. According to the law, they were her daughters because her sons had married them. And she decides to leave the area of Moab. She decides to return to her own land, for she had heard, while she was in Moab, how the Lord had remembered his people and given them bread. So she had heard now, see, God's pouring out a blessing here. We can witness this going on. See, her two sons have died, and we can still see a harvest going on in the land of Judah. 7. And she went forth out of the place where she was, and her two daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return unto the land of Judah. So she left, her and her two daughters-in-law with her. And they left in order to go back to Judah. 8. Naomi said unto her two daughters-in-law, Go, return each of you to her mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. And Naomi says to her two daughters-in-law, Now go, turn each and every one of you back to your mother's house. Go back to your mother's house, and may the Lord be kind to you. May the Lord be merciful to you. May he bless you even, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. Or as you have done, see, so with the dead, showing respect and this kindness, in that you have staged. They had stayed with Naomi when her two sons had died. 9. The Lord grant you that you may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. So as she spoke to them, the Lord grant you that you might find rest, that you might find some comfort or peace even, each of you in the house of your husband, with this that has happened, since your husbands have died. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and cried. 10. And they said unto her, No, but we will return with you unto your people. But they wanted to stay, and they said to her, No, we will go back with you to your people. 11. And Naomi said, Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb that may be your husbands? And Naomi says to her two daughters-in-law, Why will you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb that may be your husbands? And we'll find out this was a custom in those days, that they would wait, see if to bring forth the seed in the house. And this was that which would be according to the law. And she tells them, I've got no more children. I ain't going to have no more children. And as we'll find, 12, Turn back, my daughters, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have hope, should I even have an husband tonight, and also bear sons? She said, Turn back. See, my daughters, go your way. I'm too old to have a husband. I'm too old. I'm past the age that I can have children. I've passed the age to have a husband. And even if I had hope, even if I had a husband this very night, and even if I gave birth to some sons this very night, 13, would you tarry for them till they were grown? Would you shut yourselves off for them and have no husbands? No, my daughters, for it grieves me much for your sakes, for the hand of the Lord is gone forth against me. And even if I did have these sons this night, would you stay here for them till they were grown? Would you wait for them and shut yourselves off from having any other husbands? No, you would be too long in your waiting, she says, my daughters, for it grieves me much for your sakes. My feelings are hurt for your sakes, that the Lord is gone forth against me. For the Lord has cut off the seed, this seed that would have come forth. 14, and they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth cleaved unto her. And they lifted up their voice, they cried out loud, or lifted up their voice once again to speak. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth cleaved unto her. So Orpah, she's decided to leave and go back. See, she'll go back to Moab, or back to that, in a reference to going back. She's never left, but she'll return to their customs and their ways. 15. And she said, Behold, your sister-in-law is gone back unto her people, and unto her God. Return you after your sister-in-law. And Naomi says, she said, Behold, look, see, your sister-in-law is gone back unto her people, and unto her God, her not a God. Return after your sister-in-law. So return after your sister-in-law, go back with her, and do like she's doing. She's going back to her people. She's going back to her customs. She's going to go back to her not a God. See, that God had set up over Moab. See, God was punishing Moab even then. Anytime you have a not a God, see, you're being punished by God. And that's what God was doing. He was punishing even. 16. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave you, and return from following after you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. 17. Where you die will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if aught but death part you and me. And Ruth, see, said, No, please, or entreat me not to leave you. Let me stay with you. Don't make me go away and return from following after you, or come from being with you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, wherever you stay, I will stay. Your people shall be my people. Your people shall be mine. So I'm going to live among you, and your God, my God. And your God, my God. But we'll see now. Even in this, there's a little bit of this representation and insinuation of an understanding of that there is more than one. See, but we'll find this is all God's work. All of it is always God's work. 17. Where you die, will I die. Wherever you go, and wherever you are, I will be. I will die wherever you are. I will be buried there. The Lord do so to me, and much and more, if anything but death comes between you and me. 18. And when she saw that she was steadfast minded to go with her, she left off speaking unto her. So when Naomi's seen that Ruth didn't want to leave, and she was steadfast in her staying, they quit talking about it. 19. So they too went until they came to Bethlehem, and it came to pass, when they were come to Bethlehem, that all the city was astir concerning them. And the woman said, Is this Naomi? So they too went on. They went on the journey, and they came to Bethlehem. They came to the house of bread. They came to even that portion which was in Judah. And it came to pass, after they got there, and when they come to Bethlehem, that all the city was astir concerning them. Everybody was glad to see all of them. And the woman said, or a woman said, and this is just some woman in the crowd, Is this Naomi? Is this pleasantness? Is this delight? Or is this favor? 20. And she said unto them, Call me not Naomi, call me Morah, for the Almighty hath dealt very bitterly with me. So they come back in grief. They come back with their head hung down, and all the city's all happy to see them, and saying, Is this pleasantness? Is this favor coming back? And she says, No, don't call me that. Don't call me favor and pleasantness. Call me Marah. And this word marah, we see, it says, for the Lord hath dealt very bitterly with me. And that's what it means to be bitter, or to be in bitterness. And this is the only place this word's ever used in all the scriptures. But she says, don't call me that. Don't call me Naomi. Call me Marah, for God has dealt harshly with me. I went out, 21, I went out full, and the Lord hath brought me back home empty. Why call you me Naomi, seeing the Lord hath testified against me, and the Almighty hath afflicted me? She says, what's going on? Why are you calling me pleasantness and delight, seeing the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me? She said, I went out full out of this land that God gave them as inheritance, and went over into the land of Moab, there to sojourn, because of the famine, because of the punishment of God. And we'll find out there God only dealt more harshly with them. Now she's come back, see, and she's wanting to know, why are y'all calling me this and treating me like this when I'm come back in bitterness. I've come back with my head hung down. God's dealt harshly with me. 22. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her. She returned out of the field of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem in the beginning of the barley harvest. So Naomi, this pleasantness, and Ruth, this Ruth would be her female companion, and have returned now. They've come back from this field of Moab, this area surrounding he of his father. And they've come to Bethlehem, even that house of bread, and they've come, see, in the beginning, of the barley harvest. And this barley harvest was a very special time of year, see. This barley harvest, when the barley harvest is right, see, we know that is the beginning of the year, and it is going to mark, see, the setting forth the day. It's going to set forth the day to Passover. And we'll move forward from here to chapter 2.